Welcome to our live training session number 34, part 2. In this video, we're going to get our engine fired up and dial in the idle and part throttle areas of operation for fuel and spark timing. We're going to have a lot to cover, so let's jump into our live training session so we can get started. Welcome back to our live training session with our second gen Mitsubishi Eclipse. In the last video, we set up our base calibration file to get our engine to fire up. That's where we're at right now. We're ready to actually fire it up and get it running and starting our process. Now there's a whole bunch of things we need to go over. First, let's go over and take a look at our data logging. Let's start our stream, capturing our data, just take a look at making sure our sensors are going to be correct on the most basic level. So the intake air temp, the engine coolant temperature, the map sensor that we've set up here, the plug and play map sensor. We need to make sure all of those are going to be correct. We also need to make sure that our throttle position is going to be scaled. We did that in the last video, but we want to confirm that it is going to be scaled correct before we start it up and we have any kind of problems with our idle control. So let's jump in right now and take a look at that. Jumping in here to our live data. We're going to go down to the bottom and start to stream. So right now, we're not capturing the data to a file. So we're just going to be taking a look at it. This would be the same thing if you had a scan tool hooked up to your OBD2 port and looking at the data on your scan tool. So first and foremost, let's take a look here at our coolant temp. We're going to find at the top here, it's going to be 86 degrees. Right now, the ambient condition in my dyno bay showing on my PC tower here for my dyno is about 74, 75 degrees. So it's off a little bit. Now that's not a concern because the engine was fired up about 2-3 hours ago before I started to do the video in the last portion, the last live training video, to move the car to get it onto the dyno. So there is going to be a little bit of discrepancy there. Again, not a big deal. Let's go in, make sure our next parameter here, looking down our list here, it's going to be throttle position. Let's go make sure this is calibrated right. So I'm off the throttle right now. We're seeing 0%. On the throttle, we're seeing 100%. Off the throttle, we're seeing 0. Now, what we need to also pay attention to is our roll throttle position. That's showing a value of 32 roll. When I get on the throttle, it obviously reads higher and comes back to 32 roll. This is important because it's tied into our simulated idle switch. We can find here idle switch status. A value of 1 says the idle switch is on. We're simulating it from our throttle position sensor, so we know that our throttle position has been calibrated at 0% throttle, and we're seeing here that the roll throttle position is at 32. If we give it a little bit of throttle, we can see the idle switch turns off. That's going to be kicking it out of any kind of closed loop idle control, and it'll be going into essentially an open loop portion of operation. So we need to make sure the idle switch is going to be correct so that idle control is going to function as we'd expect. Taking a look kind of down our list, we can see the ISC position, or the idle stepper position. Now, what we want to see when we fire this up, and this is going to be part of what we cover here just initially to get things going, we want to make sure that our ISC position, once the engines come to fully up to operating temperature, that it's going to be around 30 to 35, so in the number of steps. If it's going to be lower than that or higher than that, that means we probably have to make some kind of adjustments. Now, this has a stock throttle body that's been ported, and I don't know if the BIS screw or the fine adjustment idle air screw is going to be touched or not. I'm assuming that someone probably had touched it and adjusted it. I don't know the status of that, so we're going to have to kind of work through that as we get the engine to fire up. This is going to be a very common thing that you find. A lot of people don't know how to actually do the tuning proper in here and making sure the base parameters are all configured and set up right and they're logging and all the parameters are looking right. So they start to mess with things like the BIS screw and make a big mess of the idle controls. Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here, and you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.